Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of Minecraft here from Heroes Landing. I'm so excited to be back, ladies and gentlemen, here in our Let's Play in Heroes Landing. I have so many plans ready to go. I am so excited to be back, and I hope you guys are as well, as we are going to be kicking things off and really getting back into... Why is there a portal in my path? But before we get started here, guys, I just wanted to thank you all for returning and being part of this with me. I know there has been kind of some time loss issues on the channel here. What can I say? The summer months really just kind of get ahead of you and everything kind of just flies by before you even know it. And then, like I've said before, I coach youth football for our local high school, and yeah, that is kind of just took up a ton of time that I guess I didn't really realize had even passed. Like you just get kind of stuck in the swing of things, and before you know it, time has completely elapsed. But with all of that said, I really hope you guys have all enjoyed your summers, and now that we're moving into the fall months, I hope you guys are ready for some sweater weather, as it is my absolute favorite. But on top of all of that, I have some brand new surprises in store for all of you, starting with my brand new office. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new office. So if you couldn't tell, yeah, the audio might not be as crisp and as comforting as it was previous episodes, but we're working on it. We'll get there in time. But yeah, guys, we have a brand new office, which means I'm gonna be able to start recording a lot more comfortably, and we'll be able to start doing a little bit more live streams too, I think. So I previously messed around with the live streams, and I think I have a good kind of template of how I want to start doing those. And I think we'll start out with doing like some Saturday streams, kind of like Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Eastern time, and kind of just starting out by doing some small landscaping projects and things like that I have. Because yeah, as I've been away, I've spent a little bit of time in this world, kind of just walking around and seeing some of the projects that we left unfinished, seeing some of the things that I kind of want to fix that we did previously, and I kind of just have a fresh eye looking at those projects and going, hey, you know what, I think I kind of want to fix that, kind of want to change things up a little bit. So yeah, I have a fresh eye with those things, so I think those will kind of be fun things to tackle on streams. And I've had a ton of fun in the past doing live streams, so I'm hoping with this brand new office that I'll be able to kind of nail down some live streams and be able to do that a little bit more frequently with you guys. So we finished off our last episode by building up this beautiful greenhouse here, and I think I added these trees afterward. I can't remember that these trees made it into the episode, but we have these trees out front here now, and I love this greenhouse. I think it came out so beautiful. And if we take a step inside, you can see we have a sniffer over here that is I think he's digging up a flower right now, so this is perfect timing. Yeah, we got another torch seed, so that's perfect. We have our little pods over here kind of growing up. I need to get back over here with a hoe and fix that, and probably put a water source underneath it or something, to keep that going as well. But yeah, this beautiful greenhouse here has really come to life. We obviously have a little bit more space and things to continue working on this greenhouse, but I absolutely love this, and yeah, I'm just super happy with this. But if we take a step outside, you can see I've been doing a little bit of work out here as well, as we kind of move into the next phase of Bravery's reach out here in this area. So this is the area that I'm kind of calling like the lower district, the kind of like the residential district of like the first comers of Bravery's Reach, I think are going to be kind of down here. So you're going to have a lot of more homesteads as well down here. Obviously we have this large greenhouse, but I think if we kind of put like a couple homes out here and kind of off in the distance a little bit more, and you can obviously have some like storefronts on the lower level of the buildings, I think that'll be really cool. And we put the tough bricks down here for the roadway. I think this is going to be kind of the theme of this lower district. It's kind of a little bit more dirty, a little bit darker kind of feel to it. It'll cast a little bit more shadow on things. Now, that's not to say that the lower district is poor or anything. Actually, I want this whole region to kind of feel like it has some wealth to it, but I think it just kind of shows age a little bit more than like bright colors. If we did this road in like, say, quartz or something, it wouldn't have that same feeling of age to me. So I think this will look look really, really good once we get some more homes and things in here. And you can see we kind of left this central area of this kind of four-way intersection wide open. I think we can do something really cool here in the center, whether it's like a statue or a water fountain or just some type of like meeting area. I think it will look really, really cool down here. So if we move our way on up here, you can see I kind of did the same thing. I laid out a nice packed mud road up here that kind of goes up into this large central area, much like our lower district, but this is the upper district. Again, like I said, the light color here kind of brings a bunch more of like a natural light to the area. It doesn't make it feel as shadowed or dark or anything. So I'm thinking this section up here will be kind of our commerce area. So we'll have a bunch of like pop-up shops in here, some villagers kind of scattered about and everything. And I think that'll make it look really cool. And it'll feel really cool as you kind of come in here and you have all of these like pop-up tent shops and everything. And you can kind of move through them and it's kind of just bustling and moving. I think maybe we add some like jukeboxes or something that kind of just continuously play records. That way you come in here and you can kind of just feel the life of the town. I think that'll be really awesome. And you can see that I've kind of started to extend out the road a little bit this way as well. I think up here on this plateau, I want to put like a bank or like a town hall or some type of larger building that kind of sits atop of the whole commerce district and kind of just keeps the whole thing moving. And obviously we'll have a bunch of buildings around this central circle and the roads on both sides as well. And obviously we could kind of continuously expand everything down over into this area. We obviously need to do a lot of terraforming down in there still, but up here I think is where we're going to start things out and kind of just continuously build. We'll have a bunch of like kind of smaller meandering paths around the buildings and throughout, just kind of creating nice little diversions away from this central area. I think that'll look really cool. It'll feel really cool. And I think once everything's kind of in place, everything will just feel alive down in here. And that'd be so awesome. But if we make our way back down here to Blossom Town, you can see I have extended the road out past our little city hall here where our villagers will gather up. That's actually where this guy's coming from. But you can see, again, I have continuously spread out this dirt road all the way out to here where we kind of need to build up a bridge to bring ourselves into the commerce district. So that's what I'm going to do. I've actually already gathered up a ton of materials and I really like this build, but let me talk to you about it as I build it up. So being as this was my first build after a long break, I was a little bit afraid of kind of getting the creative juices going. So I decided to download Axiom and try to give myself kind of a little bit of a leg up. And I don't really know how to use Axiom, so it didn't really help me, but I can talk about that in just a minute. What it did help me do, however, was kind of figure out the design. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like a large gatehouse at the front of it, at the back of it, what the overall arch of the bridge would look like. So I was able to kind of figure out that and ended up actually scrapping Axiom. I deleted it and I just went back to the old school method of placing blocks by hand. And I came up with this design, which I was actually really happy with. At first, I started using a quartz and different types of quartz blocks, but it just looked way too white to me. It actually was a little bit distracting, and I kind of told myself too, like, that's way too much quartz to gather in this single player survival mode. So I actually decided to gather up a bunch of the sandstone and the sandstone variants and just kind of coupled them with a little bit of birch wood and brought in some oak trapdoors as just a little bit of accenting. And then we just kind of created this arch, kind of double layered the arch as well, just to give it a little bit more girth and made it look like it was a little bit more stable for, you know, passers-by. And then I decided to bring in the quartz for the top layer as like the road as you're entering, because one of the things I wanted to do with this bridge was kind of symbolize what it meant entering into Bravery's Reach, which I kind of vision as a place of wealth within the region. It's where kind of like the capital city of this region. So you kind of want to get that impression as you come across. The other thing I really wanted to do was kind of bring in elements from around the world, which I kind of continued to do in multiple different areas. But for this one specifically, I brought in our little villager statues that we've built before on our nether portal. If you go up to our nether portal, you'll see these guys kind of standing guard. So I decided to have these guys as kind of like the gatehouse for the the bridge itself. They kind of stand guard at the front and the back of them, bringing in the quartz and some diorite and some things like that, just to make it, again, kind of present as a wealthy area within the region as you approach it. And I think it just gives a really cool tie-in with the rest of the world, and it makes you kind of just feel comfortable as you approach the bridge. So that was kind of my creative process for this entire bridge. Okay, there it is in the distance, and I gotta say, I'm loving it from back here. I love the scale. I think it fits really, really well with like the buildings and everything. And once we get more buildings built up in the commerce district, I think everything is gonna be really nice. And I think this bridge is really gonna just kind of lend itself to the environment. So as we kind of approach it here, I gotta say, I love these guys kind of standing here at the end of it, and as you kind of enter the bridge, how they kind of just tower over you on each end. I love it. I love the colors too, the white of the quartz and bringing in the sandstone and the birch for a little bit of like off-white yellow color. I gotta say, I love that so much. And yeah, actually, we just have one last thing we gotta do here, and that is to add a little sword here at the base of each one of these. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this, and we're actually going to strip this down so that we can get this color right there. I think that's the best color. And then we're just going to extend ourselves up, our scaffolding, and bring this right up into his chest. I think we're gonna go something like this. I think this will look really good for the hilt of the sword. Let's see, go like that, and then we strip these all down. These are all waxed because they came from our trial chamber. So I think this is looking really good. If we take a step back, break our scaffolding, and kind of take a look, I think this is gonna look really cool. Yeah, I think that looks really cool. May have to extend up the kind of tip of the blade here up a little bit more. Maybe mix in some different blocks in the blade or the handle of the sword here. I think that'll look really good, but I think this looks pretty cool. I think I do want to mess around with it just a little bit more, but I think it'll look really cool for each one of these to have like that little bit of sword. And the last thing I'll mention here is that the backs of these guys are pretty bare. I tried messing around with banners, but banners don't load in very far. Like, you kind of have to be close to them to see the banners. So I'm not entirely sure. They look a little flat on the back, but you can see we put the crowns on the top of them, and I think like a banner or some type of tape on the backs of them. I don't know. I had to mess around with it a little bit more, but I do love these guys right here. I think this looks really cool. And like I said, once you kind of enter the town, we'll grab our horse here and enter the town on horseback. As we kind of enter the town over here, I gotta say, it's gonna be really cool to see, like, oh yeah, like once you get here and you kind of see like a bunch of buildings, you'll see along the road here, you'll see like the tent and all the colors in the center of the town here. And then obviously you'll have buildings and everything on each side of the road stretching up. You'll have that nice large building that kind of peeks out over the roofs of the other buildings as you're coming across the bridge as well. I think that'll look really cool off there in the distance. And yeah, I think this is just gonna be such a fun build once we get everything moving along. All right, taking a little bit of a break in the episode here, I want to fly out to Gearville, because earlier in this episode, I did mention that there are some things with fresh eyes here that we can kind of look at and see our mistakes and kind of game plan a little bit of a path forward for the future of this world. And Gearville is one of those things that I kind of look at and have kind of stumped me. That's why I haven't really been back here, is because, yeah, it just, for some reason, this design and everything just kind of irks me. It kind of makes me feel bad, so I kind of just stay away from it. As you can see, I've kind of messed with the roads multiple times here actually, and there's just kind of like empty spaces where I'm not sure what to do. I have these large pipes that I like a lot, but I'm just not really entirely sure what I want to do with them. Our collection system for our gunpowder doesn't really go anywhere. We don't have like a smooth transition into a collection system. So yeah, Gearville is one of these places where I don't know what it is. The idea for Gearville was to be kind of like my industrial district, but with some flavor. I wanted to be able to put multiple farms. So like in this building, we have our sugarcane and our bamboo farm all hooked up. So that is collecting inside there. But then we have no other farms other than the gunpowder farm. So yeah, I wanted to kind of fill this place out, and as I'm kind of getting back into the world, I kind of see like the need for some of these automated farms. Like we don't have a iron farm, we don't have any other types of like automatic farms that are kind of necessary for long-term worlds. Like we really need that kind of materials so that we can continue to build up awesome builds like this. Yeah, so kind of looking at it with fresh eyes, I'm thinking there's a lot that we have to do, and I think one of the first things we have to do is terraform. I think that was kind of a mistake that I made when laying out this whole area. Like we didn't even get rid of the village that was here previously. All of this hillside here really needs to be terraformed before we start working. We do have kind of our building sitting up like one block above the terrain, just to kind of give ourselves the ability to kind of build out over the terrain, but as we kind of look around, this terrain really needs some TLC. So I think that's kind of where we should start for this moment, is kind of just hit this a little bit, just kind of smooth out the edges so that we can kind of see where everything lies. I did kind of mess around back here where there's this giant hole. I had some concepts that I wanted to implement back here, but for some reason I just couldn't get myself to do it earlier on. So yeah, I think if we just kind of do a little bit of terraforming around here, like I said, smooth out the edges, clean up some of these pockets right there and stuff, then we can kind of see it with a fresh lens, and maybe that'll help us kind of decide how we want to lay out some more buildings up here on this hill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we have a ton of work done out here, kind of more towards the outskirts of Gearville. You can see we had a giant crevice here that we filled in, so that is looking a lot better. And as you kind of make your way up the hill, things are looking very, very nice as well. You can kind of see where I've run out of dirt for now, but I gotta say, I'm loving this. It's feeling a lot better as you kind of come up into Gearville. Obviously, there's a ton of work that we still have to do on this backside, but I'm still trying to kind of figure out what it is I want to do out here. I think we have a larger terraforming project on this side in a future episode. We're obviously not going to finish this up today, so yeah, that is looking and feeling a lot better as you kind of make your way from our road down towards our starter base. As you kind of make your way towards this area, it's feeling a lot better. So that is a huge improvement. Another improvement we have made is to the roadway, and I'm actually loving this as well. So let's take a look. You can see we're actually bringing in some of the copper bulbs, which again, gonna need honey so that we can get these guys at full luminosity. But yeah, everything's looking a lot better. I actually tore up the entire road, replaced everything down, and I have to say it's feeling a lot better. I also fixed this curve. It took me a little bit, but we kind of just widened it out and made it a little bit more of a sharp turn, and then kept this road pretty much straight all the way down through. You can see we still have a ton of work on the roadway, but it's feeling a lot better, and I'm a lot more comfortable with this as well moving forward. So big improvements. I'm excited to get more of those copper bulbs in here, and I also want to make sure that we kind of stay true to the aesthetic. We wanted this to be a steampunk area, and so I think we can make up some small contraptions that don't necessarily do anything, but will fit the environment really well. So yeah, I think this is looking a lot better. But for now, with Gearville in hand, I'm in a good future set out for it. It is time to head back to Bravery's Reach and kind of map out where we're going to be putting a bunch of buildings. Okay, so we've gone ahead and laid everything out with some concrete powder, and I gotta say, I'm feeling really, really good about this. Obviously, we're not building up any of these buildings today. We're just laying out the plan, but yeah, I'm very, very excited for the plan because as you kind of come across, we're gonna have to build a bridge across here, and I want it to match kind of our larger bridge that we built earlier on in the episode, but without the statues. I just kind of want it to be like a little sister to that bridge as you come across here, and then we'll have like our first building here on our left. We'll have some bigger buildings here on the right, but we'll get to that in a second as we kind of have just like a little bit of a path kind of around meandering over closer to the greenhouse. And I didn't have any green concrete powder, so excuse the red concrete for the trees. But yeah, I think these could be some cool little trees here, kind of keeping the main road away from the little path here, kind of just separating everything. Obviously, we have a few more as well, but as you kind of come over towards this direction, I'm thinking this would be a really cool spot for like some type of steeple or kind of just like a nice gathering area, kind of like we have over in Blossom Town, but maybe a little bit more gothic in its style. And then we have another little meandering pathway over here off the main road where I think this could be a really fun like art studio. I think it could be like a larger house, but I think like the first floor of it, we could do some really cool like art studio because we have our flower generating farms below our greenhouse. It'd be really fun to turn that all into dye and bring it up in here where we could come find our dyes. That I think that would be really, really cool in a building like this. And then, as I said, we'll have some bigger buildings over here on this corner as you're coming across. Right now, they feel a little bit tight, so I might have to create some space, kind of move this one down a little bit more and this one down a little bit this direction as well. I think that would be really cool just to open it up a little bit more. It does feel a little bit crowded right here at this moment, but I think it'd be really cool to kind of have some more residential buildings here, and maybe like some type of tavern or a gathering house over here as well. Kind of just like a larger kitchen or something like that kind of does like a group dinner or like a gathering dinner over here. I think that'd be a really cool idea. And then lastly, we have another path kind of meandering down closer to the shoreline of the river here, where I think we can just put one more house off in the distance and it kind of just fills up the space, and we can do a little bit more with this as well once we get to it. I actually don't have any plans for these buildings yet and like what we should do other than this one and, like I said, like an art studio, but these ones can be our houses and things like that. So these will all fit together really, really well. But like I said, we're going to need to build a bridge across over to the main district, where I haven't started planning anything out just yet because I want to get the lower residential area pretty much complete. Obviously, you can see we have a ton of space in the back here, and as well as over here, but we'll get to that. I think this is a really good start, and then we can kind of get some villagers roaming around over here as well. That'll feel really good over in this area. And again, we're gonna have to build up something here in the center. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet, but I think this is a really good start. So that's going to do it for me in this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I just got to say thank you so much for joining and coming back and everything. This has been a blast. I'm actually really excited about what we have in store for the future, and I promise I will stay up to date. I will continue to put in the hard work necessary to keep this channel alive and keep these episodes flowing. So if you did like it, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys later.